We take a lot of diesel and water with us so that we have enough. We also bring a lot of rice and food so we don't run out of it either. We can't ask anyone there for supplies.
Masinloc, a fishing port in the north of the Philippines. 14 men load the La Salvia for a journey into the unknown.
We like fishing very much, because if we catch a lot, we earn well. Fishing is the only thing I know how to do. I have no training.
Ice. It keeps the fish fresh for days, because the men often don't know how long they'll be out at sea.
I have to be careful there. I have to take care of the crew. It's tough on Scarborough Reef. Many fishermen have already disappeared there.
Captain Efren Forones leads the motley crew. The distance to the reef, 220 kilometers. He uses an analog compass to navigate across the open sea. The trip takes 18 hours.
There is no other way to earn money. Even if the Chinese Coast Guard chases us away, we go anyway.
Arrival at dawn. On the horizon, what the fishermen are afraid of: Chinese ships. Scarborough Reef is one of the richest fishing grounds in the Philippines. The men have been coming out here for decades. The risk is worth it because the fish are still plentiful and bigger than on the coast.
I've been going to Scarborough Reef for many years, even before my hair was white. The conflict started a long time ago. Since I've been coming here, it's never gone away.
China claims virtually the entire South China Sea for itself, right up to the coast of the Philippines. No other country in the region recognizes this. China has de facto occupied Scarborough Reef since 2012. It considers the area to be its property. The country enforces its claims by military means. For example, the Chinese Coast Guard uses water cannons against the Filipinos. Here, against the Philippine Coast Guard. But the Chinese have also targeted fishing boats.
It makes us nervous when they're here. We never know what they're up to. Sometimes they come on our boat and steal the fish they want. I wonder why they behave like that. The Chinese. It's troublesome. They act like kings. If at all, then we are the kings here. The reef is ours, but they treat us like thieves. We stick together. We just wait and see if they stop us or not.
The fishermen work in groups. One team catches fish for aquariums. Today, Japanese surgeonfish.
This kind of fish, there is a...
This fish has a sting, like a knife, very sharp.
Very sharp.
If we put it in a plastic bag, one move and it has a hole, so it's better to cut it away.
And then better we get this one.
A fish sells for 50 centimes. The fishermen stay out on the reef until it's financially viable. This often takes over a week. One animal per plastic bag. This is the only way the fish survive until they reach the mainland of oxygen. Other sea creatures go into the pan.
I think we're safe for today. The Chinese are not moving anymore. If they wanted to stop our boat, they would be moving now. All this makes our work hectic and stressful. It's always on your mind that they might do something to you.
It's a 24-hour operation on the boat. Fishing, eating, sleeping, then do it all over again. Today, it remains peaceful. The Chinese boats keep their distance. But the Scarborough Reef is firmly in Chinese hands. It is suspected that the Chinese want to build a military base on it. The lagoon inside the reef used to be a safe anchorage for fishermen. Today, they can only reach it with their small dinghies.
Ayos lang, pero ang gusto ko sana doon sa
I want us to be able to anchor in the Reef Lagoon
magpundo para
for safety reasons.
dito kasi sa labas.
It's dangerous out here when the wind comes from different directions.
Pag pumihit
We don't even try to go in anymore.
na tayo
They would surely ram us at the entrance to the lagoon.
subukang papasok
Our
yan,
boat is only made of wood,
sigurado,
their
sa
boat
bangka
is
na
made of metal.
makabanggain ka pa. Ikahoy lang yung sa atin. Isa kanila bakal.
We wouldn't stand a chance, we wouldn't be able to get home.
Hindi tayo magkauwi. Tapos pinumbahan ng mga
They've already shot at us with water cannons.
bahala.
It don't matter, we're here and we're still fishing. We just persevere.
Patigasan na lang ng ulo.
It's just crazy. You cannot just draw a line in the ocean and say everything there is mine. It's a military and economic purpose. Military to control it, and because you control it, you can stop others from getting the fish, oil, and gas. You can seize the natural resources.
Antonio Carpio has long been fighting against China's power politics. On behalf of the Philippines, he went to an international court of arbitration. The tribunal issued a ruling in 2016. China's claims are not tenable under modern maritime law. Nevertheless, China continues to invoke the so-called nine-dash line. The country invented this line itself after the Second World War. According to maritime law, it violates the claims of other countries in the region.
Every state has a right to their maritime zones. Every state has an equal right. And no state can grab the maritime zones of another state. And China is grabbing the maritime zones of everybody else.
The Philippines relies on creative resistance in the unequal struggle. For example, on the Angels of the Sea. That's the name of a Coast Guard unit. Their task, to radio Chinese boats cruising in Philippine waters.
The Angels of the Sea is in my heart because we are the first female personnel deployed in the West Philippine Sea, among others, among the 81 graduates of Radio Operator Angels of the Sea course. In my experience, the Chinese Coast Guard is doing some dangerous maneuvering in approaching us. The risk is so high, especially in the contested area. For me, it's very dangerous. I don't know if I boarded the vessel, what will going to happen. But I have no choice if I am directed to board such vessel for such particular mission.
A near miss. Chinese Coast Guard vessels are much larger and more heavily armed. The country often uses old warships simply repainted.
It's very scary for me because if you compare the China Coast Guard, is so 100 meters vessel, then the Philippine Coast Guard most likely like this, 44 meters. It's quite small, very, very small, I believe. But still, in our mind, we have to move forward. And since we are stationed in Angels of the Sea, I believe it's through communication that they lessen their aggressiveness through the angelic voice of angels of the sea.
This is Philippine Coast Guard BRP Malabrigo MRRV 4402. In accordance with international and Philippine national laws, we are proceeding according to our plan route. Request to stay clear from our passage in accordance with the collision regulation. Over.
If you communicate to other vessel, you have to put in your heart and in your mind that you have to maintain your low and calm voice, but firm, to be understood by the vessel that you are challenging.
Hundreds of kilometers further south, a cruise of national interest begins, the Great Kalayaan Expedition. For the first time, tourists are traveling to the disputed Spratley Islands. The trip has been approved at the highest government level. The country wants to demonstrate these islands are part of the Philippines.
This trip is, I believe, extraordinary. It's about making our mark in this world and in this municipality. We're trying to open up the Kalayaan group of islands to the tourism and to open it to the vast potential of it as a tourism destination in the province of Palawan.
The Spratley Islands consist of more than 100 reefs and atolls. Almost half of them are occupied and developed by the surrounding countries. The Filipinos call the archipelago Kalayaan, which means freedom. The program of the trip includes the island of Lawak and the island of Pagasa. Seven days through disputed waters. On the surface, it is a tourist package tour, but it's actually about geopolitics.
Prepare a long time. Sometimes they have some doubt. I heard sometimes it's dangerous, but as of now, I cannot experience how dangerous is going there.
But the winds are very rough at the moment, and the weather is not so good. Maybe it will rain. But anyway, after 26 hours, we're in Lawak Island.
The travelers are a colorful mix from home and abroad. There are also journalists from Asia and Europe. They have booked as tourists to take advantage of this unique opportunity. First stop, the island of Lawak, the 8th largest island in the archipelago. The Philippines have occupied it since the 1970s.
That's ours. So yeah, it's our fishing ground. Maybe we could develop it as our tourist destination, our dive site. But unfortunately, they have the might and they have all the manpower, the big ship, so we can't compete them. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just be there, ask for international help, stuff like that. So it's like David and Goliath. So yeah, we're the David and they're the Goliath. So yeah, that's ours definitely. Let's go. All right.
Sandy beaches and palm trees. A day trip is planned. The group is to have fun on the tropical island. In their luggage, sunglasses, snorkels, and fishing rods. But Lawak is no ordinary tropical island. Access is only permitted with a signature. 12 soldiers guard the island around the clock.
The thing about the military facility is preventing other nations from occupying this. When the Chinese people are occupied some of the islands here in the West Philippine Sea, and it happened, right? And we cannot just take it back from them without any force.
Here in particular, the notice turn. The catalog would say Lawak, a natural paradise with rare birds. But the interest is more in the troops. They are only placeholders on the island of Lawak and are replaced every 2 months. This also means that they don't know much about the island, not even about the tides.
It's the low tide. The boat cannot push through here. It will damage its billows. We will have to walk through there and then transfer one by one.
Then the weather suddenly changes, a tropical storm, rain, wind, and waves within minutes. The guests are still standing in the middle of the coral. The situation is dangerous, but the young men from the Navy and the Coast Guard, they can only watch. There is no working boat on the island.
It's a surprise for me. I did not expect it to happen that very fast, and I was hoping still that we get on board before that happened. But I do ask for the Coast Guard for their guidance, and they said we forgot to inform you that they knew that it will happen. But yeah, that's the a little bit of sad part for me.
The storm only lasts an hour, but it really messes up the tourism plans. It's low tide. The guests have to walk through the sharp coral. In the end, everyone gets back on board safely, or almost. Tourism in the South China Sea, miles away from the mainland. It's not that easy. The islands are actually uninhabitable.
Countries fight over these small rocks because of the natural resources, because it's entitled to a territorial sea. They became important because of the law of the sea. Before, nobody knew the value of a rock above water at high tide. I mean, what was the value of Scarborough Shoal in the 1900s, early 1900s? Nobody knew. But then UNCLOS said, if it is above water at high tide, it is entitled to a 12 nautical mile territorial sea. That 12 nautical mile territorial sea is twice the area of Metro Manila. Huge. And if you own the rock, you own the territorial sea, you own all the oil, gas, and fish in that huge area.
Night at Scarborough Reef. China guards the area around the clock and blocks access to the inner lagoon. The La Salvia, made of wood and weighing almost 2 tons, can only anchor outside. The men have to stay alert.
Always watching the rope and the wind and the current, because round and round, the boat is round and round.
Thunderstorm cells pass over the boat. Wind and currents are going round in circles. Then suddenly, excitement at the stern. The La Salvia, tossed to and fro by the waves, has crashed into one of its small dinghies. It almost sank. The bow is smashed.
What do you call this one? And then the wave is going like this.
A disaster. One boat less to fish with.
I have to watch the boat, so I can't sleep. I only sleep when the wind dies down, otherwise I just take a nap. If the boat breaks away, we're lost. Many boats have disappeared like that. They weren't paying attention. They were asleep, and they disappeared. It's tough out here on Scarborough Reef.
This wouldn't have happened inside the lagoon. The crew would have been safe. On the way home, the La Salvia passes a fleet of Chinese boats. Most of them belong to the so-called Maritime militia. Their job is to mark their presence for China.
They are not fishermen. They don't have any bottles or a compressor with them. They're looking for possible oil deposits. They work at night, so it's not obvious. They shouldn't abuse Scarborough Reef, just because the owners, the Philippines, are powerless. I am a second-generation fisherman like my father. I want my people and my children to experience the reef too. I hope it stays intact. I hope they don't interfere with Scarborough Reef. This is our world. We are here. That's where their world is. They should stay there.
On the way back, the crew passes 19 Chinese ships.
Well, for the Philippines, it's about survival, economic survival. For China, it's about their greater glory, because they're rich already, but they want more. They want to get from other countries. If China is allowed to use force to annex a territory of another state, it will open up a can of worms. And that means never-ending wars again. My message is simple. We all agreed on this law of the sea because we want peace and stability. We don't want to be fighting all these wars all over again, and it's very dangerous to fight these naval battles because you might use nuclear arms, and there will be a nuclear war. That will be the end of human civilization as we know it.
Scraps of Chinese words rustle through the radio. The cruise is headed for the main attraction of the trip.
I'm very excited to go to this island because it's ours. We have co-Filipinos who are there and who have lived there for the longest time. It is significant to me because I can tell the whole world this is truly the Philippines, and we could not just give it up anytime soon.
I'm feeling overwhelmed that I'm here finally. I'm seeing the Pagasa Island. I'm hoping that the reef there is great. I heard the reef there is great, so I'm gonna do diving.
The Filipinos called the island Pagasa, which means hope. It's the only Philippine island with an airstrip and a civilian population. It is effectively the capital of the Philippine-occupied territories.
The plan is to introduce you to the communities and to have mingling with them, and to have an interview with the residents, first-hand interview with what they are feeling with the presence of the Chinese militia around. And so I think that would be the highlight of this expedition, yes.
A lavish reception for the first tourists on the island. Almost 200 civilians live on the island. Their children have prepared welcome gifts. Some have never seen foreigners before. The tour group has brought gifts, flip-flops. There's almost nothing to buy this far out in the South China Sea. How many soldiers are here is a secret. The island is mainly a military base. Since the 1980s, the Philippine government has also brought civilians here.
Most of the residents here live from fishing. When they are not working for the village, they are fishing. But many also work in construction.
There is a lack of infrastructure, military and civilian. The Philippines want to catch up. China has been expanding its occupied islands for years. The tourists notice this too. Their cell phones connect to the Chinese network, probably from a neighboring island.
Yes, I was surprised because we are here in Pagasa and we get a message, welcome to China, right? Okay, because I think they have very strong network to like to move all around here.
Yeah, no internet. It says 4G, but no internet.
The Philippine network is faltering. Good reception is only available at the local Wi-Fi station. This is where the island's population meets. The government is trying to organize normal village life, but China is omnipresent.
There is fear. We know how powerful they are and that they can easily do something to us if they want to. For example, they prevent us from fishing in that area. We can't even go there anymore. It's become too dangerous.
The main task of the Philippine Armed Forces on this island is to hold their ground. They can do little against the overpowering Chinese.
We are very happy that tourists are now coming to our island. This could diffuse tensions with China because tourists are now visiting our community.
Not everyone followed the program today. The diving group landed on a Chinese-occupied sandbank with the national flag.
The four of us. So the Chinese Coast Guard is facing towards us, and then we were just running around the island. And then every time we run, we see that, oh, they're not moving, so we're gonna do this fun.
Guys, you have to be careful. Otherwise, they'll unpack the water cannons.
I want people to understand that the life here is very complicated and it's not a normal tourist destination for everybody. We try to open up this tourism industry to the world and to the Filipinos. It receives a lot of criticisms and they said it's impossible. I imagine the Pagasa maybe 10 years from now, it would be one of the top tourist destinations in the Philippines.
Three days later, barely awake, the fishermen anchor again in the harbor at Masinloc. It is uncertain whether they will go out again. It's hardly worth it financially, and a trip to the reef is dangerous.
Why do the Chinese rule the reef that belongs to us? I think they want to show us that they are a big country and that they can crush the Philippines. The Philippines is poor. Maybe that's the reason. We have no way of getting it back. That's probably why they've become even more insistent and claim it belongs to them. Whatever happens, the reef is like our piggy bank. If we fish there with spears, we make a lot of money. It's not far from here. That's why it should be ours. They should disappear. But our government can't drive them away.